cheerleading. And cheerleading to me was my entire freaking life. I cheered for 10 years and I coached for about 4 or 5 of those years also. And cheerleading to me was the biggest thing in my entire life. In high school, I didn't have a social life. I got out of school at 3:39, and basically I started coaching at 4 o'clock till 9:30 that night. So, and it wasn't high school cheer, it was all-star cheer, so had no social life at all. Basically, I want to make this video for me to just kind of remember some of the memories. I have a bunch of pictures printed out, and I'm just gonna kind of put a little story, a background story to the picture so I don't forget. So cheerleading for me started in 3rd grade, all because me and my best friend Logan at the time, we wanted to try out for cheerleading or sign up for cheerleading. So we did, and we were on Pee Wee Hornets. So we were on the Pee Wee team, and it was my friend Holly's mom was the coach. Basically, that happened. I don't really remember all of that much. So my cheerleading coach, Wendy, the first year I had her, I was on the gray Y team. I didn't start getting close to her till years down the road. The next year, another Hornets team. So the next year I did 2 years of elementary school cheerleading with Wendy, and then she decided to make whoa, that's really loud. I just spilled that Mountain Dew every freaking where. Okay. So the next year she decided to make a all-star cheerleading team, and I remember it was yesterday. I wasn't super close with her. I was in 7th grade, and she sent out the little informations in the mail, and basically I remember her coming to the house and meeting with my parents in the living room. We were all sitting in the living room talking about it, deciding if it was for me. And honestly, that had to be the best freaking decision of my life to do that, because that woman is a second mama to me, and I freaking adore her. Quality kind of year. We do, I think, 2 competitions, but we're a tiny team from our town, small town, so we're not that big. And me and her, I had a best friend on that team, Logan, and my advice is, if you're on a cheerleading team, find you a best friend, because it is so much better with that one BFF to spend the night with before you have yard sales or car washes or competitions or practices in the morning or anything. And so and then it was another year of the same exact team. So the next year we changed our name, we changed our colors. We had our own building, because the first year of that all-star team we were practicing outside in a park and in the grass, no mats, no nothing. And then the second year we were renting out a air conditioning place, and it was a struggle. We had mats, but it was a struggle. The next year we got our own building that was it's seriously 2 minutes from my house. That year was super fun. I think that's the year that me and Wendy, we started to get close. That studio was the place that we had. That studio was my home, and I don't remember a time when that I would go in and go to practice and then leave. I was there all the time. People would come in and sign up, and they would be on the team for a little while, and then they would start come and talk to me, be when I first started, I legit thought you were Wendy's daughter. Every time Wendy was at the studio, I was at the studio. And that's when I started help to coach. And then there was a non-competitive team that we had for the end of the year recital, because we also did dance. I was a dance teacher there. My sister she ended up joining the team. Whenever we got our new place and changed our business, that's when my best friend Logan stopped doing cheer. So the first 2 years of the new us, I didn't really have a best friend on the team. I was that social butterfly that would hang out with all the cliques. Our team wasn't very cliquey, but there was some, but I was the person that could literally hang out with everybody, and my sister was on the team, so I kind of did, I could always fall back and just go talk to my sister, I guess, and she was on my stunt group. And boy, like I was a flyer, she was my back spot, and a sister as a back spot is not a good idea, because like if you're falling, if she's mad at you, she'll let you hit the ground. And my coach couldn't get mad because like she's my sister, and I couldn't get, I don't know, like there was a lot of fighting. But then also it's like for stunning, like if I was falling, she didn't care if she hurt me to make sure I didn't fall because she's my sister. When I started getting close to Wendy, I would help out with the studio a tremendous amount. Like I was there all the time. I coached babies for dance, like tap, ballet, jazz, hip hop. I teach tumbling for babies to juniors to a youth. I coached tinies, minis, a youth group, a junior, and my very last year I was too old to cheer, so I coached a senior team. And coaching a senior team and used to cheer with them the year before is very hard to get your respect from them, but it worked out, I guess. Now I'm just kind of looking through my pictures and gonna put some story behind them. So for this picture, I'm laying on the mat. That was the first year that we got our tumble track. Like it's the spring floor like all stars use. Well, we didn't have a full spring floor. We just got a strip in the back for tumbling, because I was the person that always had like the highest level of tumbling. So like a tumble track to me was like heaven, because I learned my runner back handspring in the grass. I learned my tuck on dead floor. Yeah, so I was like spring floor. I was so happy. It's just me, like a typical cheerleader kind of thing to do. I was in a hospital with my best friend, and I don't remember who we were going to see, but we were kind of just roaming the hospital. And yeah, I just randomly was like, I'm gonna pull a scale and you're gonna take a picture of me. And it's so funny because that's the hospital that I did my clinicals at this past summer, and like right at the top of that is like where I would like take my lunch. Like there's like rocking chairs up there because it's near labor and delivery. I would eat my lunch there, and I would look at those stairs and be like, man, those were the days. From a recital, I believe this was the last year my sister cheered, and we have another picture, I don't know where it is, but a little boy, this is when I didn't coach because I would have known the little boy, but a little boy, he had his trophies and he wanted to take a picture with us. Oh goodness, we were at the beach competition. This was my last year. I wasn't cheerleader, I was just coaching, and it was a buffet, a seafood buffet, and I don't really do seafood because my mom's allergic and I'm kind of terrified that I'm gonna eat fish one day and almost die. So I went hardcore on cantaloupe. I love cantaloupe, and I legit probably ate a whole, like almost a whole cantaloupe. This picture, selfie with Wendy, is just like, that's just like typical me and Wendy for a practice, like just taking pictures. I have so many of like pictures like this with me and Wendy, but this is probably like one of my top favorites. We had a competition at Carowinds, and freaking Becca, she took her makeup off and I didn't. Oh, like I said, when my sister stopped cheering, like it's good to have a best friend when you're cheering. Becca, she became my best friend. I have a million of pictures that's going to be at the end of this video probably of me and her. But this was on a roller coaster that they ended up taking down, I think this like 2 years ago. And Wendy, she was being very dramatic. Like she was screaming the whole time on every single roller coaster, even if they weren't, like she wasn't being 100% serious, but it was so funny. This is actually a screenshot from a video. If I can find the video, I'll insert it, but it is so funny. This is, it was my birthday. It was my 20th birthday. And the other co-worker, Linda, she actually made me this cake, like her best friend, I don't know, but I'm obsessed with Taco Bell, so it was a Taco Bell like sauce packet cake. This is me driving my mom's car from we used to do car shows. We pass out flyers, pass out 50-50 tickets. The seniors would have practice. On Sundays we would drive to a facility that was an hour away for them to practice on a full spring floor, and we would always listen to Justin Bieber, and I'm 100% sure we were listening to Justin Bieber, or it was Justin Timberlake. Oh, it was Justin Timberlake. It was Drink You Away. It's caption what she does at practice. Just typical me and Wendy. The place that we would travel to an hour away, this was one of the coaches, and he was just like, he was engaged at the moment, but Wendy and Linda, they were just like, I don't know, it was like destined for me and him to be together, but not really, because he was like older. I don't know, it was just a thing. Oh goodness, this is a random picture when I helped out with my high school cheerleading team, and I did it for a month, the month of October. And yeah, I helped out with their competition team. I don't know, it was weird, it was awkward, but I remember we would get a water break and we'd have like 30 seconds to get water, and like they would count, like if you didn't, you would have to do 10 toe touches like continuously. And I was late, and it was like me and like I guess like 5 other girls, and I was doing them, and all of them were like literally freaking out. I was like, how are your toe touches so good? And I'm like, I just did 10 in a row. Those were not freaking good. But I was a flyer, which is like really random, and like on my all-star team, we pulled like heel stretches and stuff with our right leg. And high school and most majority of teams, they pull on their left. And I remember I was I had to do a extension scorpion, a scorpion and an extension on my bad leg. And I remember doing it, and I was like, oh, and I literally was like, I'm going to freaking fall. And I even did a scale on my bad leg and fold down. I don't know how I did that, but I remember doing that, and I was terrified. Okay, the next couple of pictures, because it's kind of like this time of year, I guess. Even though today is Halloween, isn't it? With the studio, I literally coached every single team, so I'm in obviously all these pictures. We would do a lot of like, we would dress up, like we would do a lot of costumes, like let them come in to practice in their costumes, or bring it to take a picture and she'd put it on Facebook. It'd be like costume like contests, and then also we would dress in pink for breast cancer awareness. The first one is the junior team. The next one is my minis team. This is my very last year, because this is the last year. And the last one was the senior team. And oh, there's minis again. So we are all dressed in pink. Dress up in your favorite teams. The first one was from the very last year with the minis. Second one was with the juniors, and then this one is at our old studio. I don't remember what year. And then now it goes to costumes. I was a sun drop girl. I think this is 4 years ago. This was on my time hop. I was tweeting about it 4 years ago. The next one is when I was Miss Incredible. That was the very last year. This was almost 2 years. This is 2 years ago. It was Halloween. It's 2 years ago because I got my doggy 2 years ago, yesterday. This one, it was my coach's birthday. Just a little team picture. This is me doing a toe touch. My toes are not pointed at all. Like, I wasn't even a cheerleader at this point. I was strictly just a coach, so I was like, I still had it, obviously. Oh, this is a really, really old picture in the old studio of my little baby dance class. Me tumbling on the beach, because every time I go to the beach I like have to, like to this day, tumble on the beach. This one's me doing an aerial. Last year, you can't see me. Linda has the red hair, Wendy's in the black pants, and then there's me on the other side of Linda. This is like our little ritual we would do with the babies before every competition. Like, we'll do a little prayer. My very first competition, we probably didn't place, but that's like at one of my favorite places. I don't remember what it's called. Another random picture. This is my youth team. And that team that year was so good. We went to nationals, and I think got like second. Oh goodness, this is like a throwback of me. This is when we had like 6 people on our team. Goodness, this picture. It's a video, but I paused it. We did like 4 jumps. We had like a 4 jump sequence, and all I remember is Becca is in the brace, and then I'm the one beside her not doing a toe touch. Me and her, we're like on the second row, and we both marked our toe touch, because right before that, or right after that, is a back handspring. We literally marked a toe touch and then went into our back handspring. And we're like, who marks jumps in a competition? Me and Becca. When me and Wendy coached, we'd coach babies. Babies would start in the morning, early. We would get at competitions at 7 in the morning. The babies would, you know, go on whenever. And then we had a junior or a youth team. They were always in the middle of the day. And then the seniors were always at the end of the day. And then the awards, like we would get there at 7 in the morning, and then awards for seniors wouldn't be till 7 at night. So, and then awards last like an hour. So we'd be leaving at like 8:30ish every single. Those were long freaking days, but they were fun. I mean, looking back, it was really fun, because towards the end of the day, that's when me and Wendy, we would get like delusional, and it was just a good time. I just remember always having a fun time at competitions with her. Okay, these two pictures, this starts out the whole me and Becca sequence. My best friend during this time was Becca. She was like 5 years younger than me, but honestly, like, it just didn't matter. Me and her, we were stuck like glue. These are just 2 texts out of like probably 1,000 that I have saved somewhere, but it's obviously Grey's Anatomy related, because why else wouldn't it be? But the first one, we would do this kind of thing, and I would say what I look like when I finish the routine, and it's Arizona after the plane crash. And when Wendy says all I do is complain, my response, and it's Meredith saying, yes, well, I'm complicated, because my nickname in cheerleading on the back of my tank top was Negative Jen, and Becca's nickname was Positive Becca. So I was at a competition in Tennessee. This one was on picture day. We were talking to each other, I have no idea. This picture is the first day, like, I think we got our uniforms, so we put our uniforms on and our bows, and like we had our makeup kind of done, and yeah, first time we ever put our uniform on. This was picture day my last year, and I don't know, just a He-Man one-man stunt. And this was after I graduated high school. We went to the beach and stayed there, I think, for a week, and you know, just a one-man stunt with her again. This is our competition at Carowinds, typical us, and this was before, I guess, I realized that there's a thing called black socks, so I was wearing white socks with my Nike slides. Don't know who let me do that. This one, picture day again, just typical. I guess I was telling her to come hug me and she wouldn't, I don't know. This is my very last competition. Very emotional. Oh my god, that day was so emotional. Picture day again. This is just me and her at practice. Don't know what the story is behind that one. Picture day again. Don't know what we're doing, but okay. This was a random competition, and then finally, I guess I realized that there's a thing called black socks, because, you know, I had my Nike slides on. Now this starts our hugging pictures. This one was just a random competition. Don't really know this one was my very last competition. I remember that place. Picture day. Picture day, we had to have a hugging picture. This was competition. I don't know. This is at my favorite place, but just another competition. This is at the same place, probably a different competition. Another hugging picture. We had a competition at Carowinds, so hugging picture, me with the white socks. Another hugging picture on picture day. Hugging picture with the black socks and the Nike slides. This hugging picture was at the recital. Might have been, no, not my last recital. Just kidding. Another competition. Hugging picture at my last competition. This one was at the beach at our hotel. And this one, don't know, just a competition. This one on the beach. We moved into a really big place that took forever to set up, and it says on here, where's my name? Oh, my sweet Jennifer. If it has paint on it at some point, she probably was painting it, and that's not the true statement ever. I don't know what the freak is. I painted my little heart out. This is on my time hop, and it was said, I tweeted, this is all me on Twitter, mentally preparing to go to the studio to paint for I put a long number, days in a row. And it says, and I have to repaint stuff I already done. And because I painted the bathroom was my pride and joy. Like, I also did the trim on literally the whole entire place, and so I did the trim in the bathroom, and it was like a little hallway, and I had to redo the trim like the next day because it wasn't the right kind of white, it wasn't glossy or whatever. And I was low-key so pissed at Wendy because I'm like, why can't I was like, I spent so many hours, like the bathrooms were literally my pride and joy. I remember literally we were at that studio, it was the day before opening, so we were there Friday. I remember on Friday, I got there at like 1 p.m. and I didn't leave. Me and Wendy, we did not leave until 7 o'clock the next morning, and we had to be there at 8:30 to prepare because opening was at 10. So I go home and my feet are throbbing because I'm a dummy. That place is concrete slab. I was barefoot the whole time. And I like never wear shoes, and we were painting the floor. That was the last thing we had to do, was paint the floor. I go home, I don't even sleep because I'm like, what's 45 minutes of sleep? I get in the bathtub because my feet are throbbing, my back is throbbing, my legs are throbbing. I had paint everywhere. Like, I had so much paint on me from painting that studio, it's literally ridiculous. I go back to the studio to find, because I guess we ran out of green paint. So I think Linda bought green paint that morning, and I like got there and we had to look cute because it was like opening day. So I had like cute clothes on, like not clothes to paint in, like my other clothes. I get there and Wendy's like, can you finish painting that wall? I had zero sleep. I've painted my life away the past probably 3 days. I was painting that wall with tears coming down my face. I remember I was literally crying, and the other owner came up to me. I go into the bathroom and she's like wiping the tears off my face. I'm literally crying because I had to paint that wall. Literally cried over painting a wall. That's how painted out I was. Oh my god, I so forgot about that. This is from 4 years ago, probably 5 years ago now, and it says the Zumba lady, which is aka Linda, was chilling with me, and I looked at her and she winked. That was her thing, she always winks at people. And I said like, I know. I was like, I don't know, it just was like kind of like an awe moment because I love her. Like, she was the Zumba lady when we were in our tiny studio, and I loved her. She was so awesome. And then when she came she co-partnered with Wendy, like the three of us, we were a family. I remember the first time we went to hang out, we had to go to a fabric store, and we were there for 4 hours, and we were finding fabric to put up on the wall to cover up some, like, I don't know, it wasn't technically, I don't know how to explain it, but we were there for 4 hours, and we got delusional. It was so funny, but that was like the beginning of the like Three Musketeers. And then, I tweeted, I was like, this is when I was in some drama with some friends about me not wanting to go out and like party. Like, I used to get so, like, cheerleading took my life. Like, I was in college, I was a coach, I was at the studio forever, and then I had a boyfriend 45 minutes away from me, so I'd always, like, I just didn't have a lot of time for friends. So I tweeted, there's more than life to partying. My cheer team literally played Duck Duck Goose at midnight, and this 20-year-old sure as hell played because we'd always have sleepovers like the night before competitions or whatever, or like bonding time, and it would always be like the youth team and the senior team together. We would have one sleepover, and so we'd play Red Rover, we'd play Duck Duck Goose, Red Light, Green Light, the good one, we would play Simon Says. Like, we would get so into it. Some more stuff from my time hop. My coach came up to me, told me that me and her have been at the studio for 21 days straight, and I'm not lying when I say I lived there. And that's exactly how my life used to be. When I say I had no social life, I had no social life. And when I say when I'm at the studio for 20 days in a row, that's including weekends, and weekends were always like 10 in the morning to probably like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like all freaking day. This was when I got my job at the doggy daycare, and it was the first day of choreography camp for the juniors, and I only missed day 1. I was able to go the next day. I had to go Saturday. I had to work Saturday, and it says it's going to be weird not having you by my side. I lean on you for so much, and you are always there. I love having my friend, my choreography partner, my BFF there with me. I love you, and I hope you have a great first day. You will be missed. # not the same without you. Not to mention my partners in crime, Linda and Jennifer. I plan on being back Tuesday. Will not be 100%, but we got competitions, a car show, and pictures to get ready for. And this is the story time. So one of the first competitions of the last season that we had, Wendy, she wasn't going to be there all day, so it was kind of up to Linda and me to like take the girls to warm-ups, be in the front, like just be their coaches for the day without Wendy. And she was never a cheerleading coach ever, so that was like way out of her league kind of thing. And I knew what I was doing, but I remember I woke up that morning and I was so like, my throat was hurting, I couldn't breathe out my nose, I could barely talk, like my sinuses and allergies were kicking. So I remember I was on ibuprofen, Dayquil. I still had NyQuil in me, and there was one other thing. What she put me on, like Linda had me on like 4 medications, and I remember when my minis, like I got there and I was delusional, like I was so loopy, and Linda was freaking out because she was like, great, Wendy's not here and you cannot, like, you're high. And I remember, like, when you are a coach and your kids go on to perform, you get so nervous for them, like you just want to like do it for them basically. And I remember sitting and watching my babies, and babies are like the most terrifying thing because you don't know what they're gonna do. My first year coaching babies, the one girl, she came up and sat beside me during her routine. So watching and coaching babies are terrifying competition days. I remember sitting there, I was chill. I was not nervous. I was not like shaking. I literally was just sitting back and was like counting for them, and I was chill. And I was like, dang, I need to be doped on medication every competition day because my nerves were like negative. My very, very last competition was super, super emotional for me. I remember that year, the motto during practice was always like, all the teammates would say, do it for Jennifer, because it was my last year. Like, that seriously was the end of an era. This picture, I don't know, it's me and Wendy. We were prepping for our other picture. I'm not sure what this is. We're looking at our feet, but okay, I like it. It's funny. This picture is me, Becca, and Wendy, typical us. Just me and Wendy again. Me, Wendy, and Becca again. That was my last competition. I remember when it was over, the one girl, Chelsea, she's a freshman in high school this year, so she's a lot younger than me. I was like her role model literally to her. I remember when it was over, her mom, I had dated her brother also, so she kind of was like a sister to me at some point. Her mom came up to me and was like, can you go talk to Chelsea? She's outside. And she was sitting outside in the grass, and she was sitting there crying her eyes out, and was like, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss not having you on the mat next year with me. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be sitting right up front row coaching you on. And she like made me cry. It was really sad. Pictures. We moved out of our tiny studio, moved into the big studio, and then things kind of fell through with the big studio, so we ended up moving back into the little baby studio. But we took pictures on our last practice at the baby studio, as we call it. And this picture, I just like this picture because honestly, my back muscles. Just a group picture at the outside of the old studio. Okay, and then at the end of every year, we would have recitals, and that was like when we get our trophies, like everything, like the very, very end. This is just me and Wendy at my very, very, very last recital. This is like one of the oldest ones we had. We did Country Girl Shake It For Me. This is just me and my sister. I don't have the group picture with me. This picture Oh goodness, this is our group. It was a jazz dance. It was I Am Woman. It started out as a group dance, and then that year, that's when it was a group dance. Me and my sister ended up doing it as a duet at a competition, I think 2 years later, maybe 1 year later. And there's a video on that, and when I watch it, like, I just don't understand why that was a thing, or why. Like, I remember my grandma being at that competition, and my dad. Oh goodness. This is a lyrical dance, Skyscraper. That was a fun dance. This was, oh my goodness, I did an individual for cheerleading one time, and that individuals are only like 1 minute and 30 seconds, but I pretty freaking died. These are just some snapshots from it. This one, I was falling to the ground during dancing. I don't know what I was doing. This one is a hurler. This is my absolute favorite picture as me as a cheerleader, because hurlers were toe touches and hurlers were the best jumps that I had. But this hurler, I honestly didn't think that they were even this good. I saw that picture and I was like, what the heck? Like, I don't feel like I did this still. This is going back, this is kind of a funny story, kind of embarrassing. This was our, we did a cancer dance, and Wendy, as you can see, she's trying to tell me to do that, and as you can tell, my arms are very, very, very low, because that morning I forgot to shave my armpits, and I was like, Wendy, I cannot do anything that has my arm like this. So we were trying to find a pose with my arms down, and that was like when me and Wendy were like this. So I was like, your girl forgot to shave her armpits. Like, it wasn't weird. All of us were just laughing the whole time. And that to me, like, was my favorite time of my life, and I definitely, some days I probably took it for granted, but I have no regrets. I absolutely loved it with all my heart, and I miss it with all my heart. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.
You're gonna have to do that one more time.